In this lesson, we'll continue learning how certain colors harmonize together and how we can use this to our advantage as an artist. Okay, so we went through sort of a handful of these color harmonies in the previous lesson, and I want to go through another handful of them really quickly with you in this lesson. So to get things started, let me come over here to my layers panel, and I'm just going to hide that color wheel, and we're going to bring in this first harmony. Now, this first harmony is called clashing, and you know, we've talked a lot about getting colors to work well together. But, you know, that's not always what you want to do. Sometimes you want to create sort of a little bit of tension between colors, or basically colors that maybe don't look good together. So one place to start, if you're looking to do that, is with this clashing color harmony. And you can do that simply by selecting a hue on your color wheel, and then coming down, finding its complement, and choosing a hue on either side of that complement. So in this case, you can see that these two colors right here, they clash pretty well. And being that they are in their purest form, they're also very vivid. So they have a lot of just loudness to them. They're very demanding on our eye. So if we were to maybe grab one of these and move it right up next to the other one, you can really see it's almost painful just to even look at that. So this is a clashing color scheme, and if you're planning on using this, then you would need to be very intentional about how you use it, and use it with purpose. So understand what's going to happen if you use this. All right, great. So the next color harmony I want to show you is simply called monochromatic. Now, this should be fairly this actually probably should be something you've heard before, but a monochromatic is simply going to use one hue on the color wheel and then a combination of its tints and shades. So we're going to either add black or white to that hue to create some variation. So you can see I've used a tint right here in the center of that hue, and a shade here in the center, and then a tint over here on the right hand side. So we've mixed in some black and we've mixed in some white with that. So monochromatic is, in my opinion, it's sort of a step up from achromatic. We're adding color, but we're really only adding one hue with a little bit of variation. So if that's what you're going for, think about using a monochromatic color harmony. The next one I wanted to go over really quickly with you is a neutral color harmony. Now this is going to use a hue that has been diminished or neutralized by its complement or by adding black. So this is a little bit different color harmony. Let me just zoom in. Here's the hue I selected here, and you can see it right here as well. Now down here, what I've essentially done in the center is I've added 40% of its complement. Remember, its complement is the opposite side of the color wheel. So we've added 40% of green here to create this color in the center. And on the right, I've added 40% black to this hue. And we've created this completely different color. So this is a neutral color harmony. Now, the effect that mixing these two colors in with our primary hue is that it seems to rein that hue in some. You can see here that by doing this, this primary hue here on the left appears to be the more dominant hue, while these two on the left seem to be more like accent colors. So if this is the type of effect or look you're going for, you could always implement a neutral color harmony. So next here we've got a split complementary color harmony. Now this is sort of a variation of the typical complementary color harmony, only it's going to use the two colors adjacent to the complement rather than the complement itself. Now this is going to have a little less tension as a complementary harmony. So we talked about complementary colors, when they're combined in large amounts, can create a lot of tension. This is going to still maintain that high amount of contrast in using a complementary, only it's going to sort of reduce the amount of tension just a little bit. So again, you want to probably manage the use of this. If you're not going for tension in your color scheme, then you'll probably want to diminish these colors or create some variation using tints, shades, or tones of the two colors. But again, choose a sort of a primary color and then accent colors if that's what you're going for. So Now, the last two I want to talk to you about here are kind of similar. We've got here a rectangle color harmony, and the rectangle is going to use 4 colors, basically, but those 4 colors are simply 2 pairs of complements. So you can see here we have the complements here directly across from one another, as well as here. Now, being that we're using 4 different hues with this color harmony, we have a lot of different options available to us when you start thinking about tints, shades, and tones. So there is a large spectrum of color available to us. But one thing you want to kind of pay attention to is the balance of warm colors and cool colors. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about warm and cool colors in the next lesson, but you can see basically here we've got cool colors on the right and warm colors here on the left. So pay attention to that balance. If you're wanting to go for kind of an equal split, this might work. If you're not wanting to go for that, you might experiment with some different colors. So the square color harmony is very similar. Uses, again, 4 different colors, but essentially these colors, while still being complements of one another, are going to be equally spaced around the color wheel. So this is one example of a square color harmony. Now, this could always be the ones adjacent to it. We could just essentially rotate this around. As long as the 4 hues are equally spaced around the color wheel, it's still going to fit into this category of a square color harmony. Now, again, this particular harmony will work best if you choose one color as the dominant color and then use the other 3 as supporting colors. And let me just come over here and show you kind of this little scheme that I've got going here. Down here with this one on the left, this is going to be our primary color, our dominant color. And again, that's this one right up here. These 3 to the right of that, right here, here, and here, these are all going to be variations of the full intensity hue for the other 3 options that I have shown over here. So whether it be a tint, a shade, or even a tone, again, those are ways that you can sort of create variations of those other 3 and turn them into supporting colors instead of primary focal points of your composition. So with that said, these are just a few of the possible color harmonies out there. There are tons and tons of color harmonies. What I'd like you to do at this point is go ahead and begin to experiment with some of these color harmonies here. So let me go ahead and show you another file. This is the Lesson 7 Begin file we've been working in, but if you check your referenced files folder, you'll find this colorharmony.psd file, and in this file it's got some line work for this young girl, and what I'd like you to do is go back and look at some of the color harmonies that we've spoke about in this lesson and the previous lesson, and I'd like you to begin to sort of color this girl's clothing, and really as much as you want based on these color harmonies. So if you're not an artist or an illustrator rather, then don't feel bad, just use some flat color, but experiment with these color harmonies. And I've gone ahead and included the color wheels we've looked at so far with the examples of tints and shades here at the top and the examples of some tones down here at the bottom for you to sample off of. Now, in doing this, you want to go ahead and just work on this color layer right here. And if you grab your brush tool and right click on your canvas, we'll just select maybe this brush right here. And with that brush selected, you can hold the Alt key down. Let's say, let's go ahead and pick a color harmony first here. We'll just go ahead and go with something simple like a complementary color harmony. So being that maybe we're coloring her shirt and her skirt here, being that those are so close together and there's a lot of area we'll be coloring, we might want to go ahead and diminish one of those colors a little bit, create a variation of it using a tint, shade, or a tone. So let's go ahead and choose our primary color here that we're going to use. I'm going to actually come in and I want to make her shirt kind of a blue color. And what I'm liking here is some of these tints actually of this particular color. We've got this color over here, which is the orange. You know, I'm not really liking that orange. Let's go ahead and rotate around a little bit. Maybe we can go ahead and choose one of these lighter tints of this green for her shirt, and maybe a purple like that for her skirt. So I'll hold down the Alt key and maybe sample. Let's try this one right here and see what that looks like. And I'll just come over here and again, if you right click, you can adjust the size of your brush. We'll just come in and paint in some of this green color here. And I'm not going to paint the entire thing for you. It gets sort of repetitive, and it's a lot like a coloring book. But I want to get this color down here next to basically where it's going to touch the other color in the harmony, so we can kind of see how they're working together. So we'll just come in and paint right like so. All right. Now, we chose, I believe, this color right here. Now, I'm going to come over and select its complement. Let's go ahead and just select this one in its purest form and begin to kind of come in and color her skirt some here. Just like so. If you get outside the lines, don't worry, you can always use the eraser. And if you really want to get creative in coloring this line work, the shirt and skirt are fairly plain. Feel free to come in and draw in some sort of a pattern if you'd like to on either one of those. Experimenting with color harmonies the entire time. So you can see kind of how those two colors are working together. Exactly right there. And again, we've used this color right here at its full intensity, in its purest form, and we've used a tint of its complement here to sort of push that back and make the amount of tension between the two less abrasive on the eye. So again, feel free to spend as much time experimenting with these color harmonies as you'd like. I'd like you to get a fairly good grasp over these, because these are an excellent place to start when you're picking colors for a project. If you'd like to work on coloring multiple versions of this, you can always come in here and before you start, just drag this color layer down to this new layer button right here and make some copies of that so you can paint several versions of the clothing on this girl. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next lesson, and we'll learn a little bit about color temperature.